You ever notice how the world acts shocked every time Filipinos do something extraordinary? Like, wow, Filipinos broke another record, as if it's some kind of miracle. No, it's not a miracle, it's Tuesday. Because breaking records is what we do while the rest of the world is still drinking their morning coffee. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comment, and I will give you a hard. Let me tell you what's really funny. Every time Filipinos make history, people go, wait, them again? Yes, us again. We're like that student who aces every exam but still gets asked if we cheated. It's almost insulting. But here's the truth. We didn't just beat a record, we beat our own. The very standard the world thought was impossible, we've now turned into our warm-up routine. From sports to science, from global service to the arts, the Filipino name is stamped across every scoreboard like it's destiny. Take this. The Philippine Coast Guard just broke the global deployment record for international maritime operations in 2025. Over 600,000 Filipino seafarers are now working across the globe, the largest in history. That's not just manpower, that's mastery. Every major shipping company from Europe to Singapore is begging for Filipino crews. Why? Because we don't panic in storms, we lead through them. But let's make it personal. Let's talk about Filipino nurses. Because let's face it, they're breaking records faster than hospitals can print name tags. The UK's National Health Service released a report last month. Filipinos now make up 1 out of every 4 foreign nurses in Britain. That's the highest ratio in NHS history. And guess what? The UK government admitted that without them, their hospitals would cease to function. You hear that? Not struggle, not slow down, cease to function. That's how vital Filipinos have become. But then the media headlines twisted. Filipino nurses are heroes. Oh, really? Now we're heroes? No, we've always been heroes. You just notice because your system's falling apart. The respect they're giving us now is overdue interest on decades of unpaid gratitude. Let's throw in another. In 2024, Filipino remote professionals broke the record for global online employment. According to Upwork and Freelancer.com, Filipinos now dominate the world's virtual job market, accounting for 23% of the global remote workforce. 23%. That means if your customer service line or graphic designer sounds too nice, too patient, and too talented to be true, yeah, they're Filipino. We're running your businesses while eating adobo and wearing tsinelas at home. And here's the irony. While Filipinos keep breaking records, the Philippines itself is still being treated like a footnote in global power. Everyone wants our people, but no one wants to match our worth. It's like dating someone who wants your loyalty but not commitment. Countries keep saying, we love Filipinos, but then underpay them, overwork them, and send hollow thank you letters. You know what the real record is? It's not just numbers, it's endurance. The Filipino is the only person on earth who can work 16-hour shifts, send money home, joke about it on TikTok, and still show up smiling the next day. That's a world record for the human spirit. And I'll say it, the world loves us when we serve them, but gets uncomfortable when we start leading. Because when Filipinos rise, the excuses of others fall apart. We don't have the biggest economy, we don't have the most advanced tech, but what we do have, discipline, warmth, and grit, is something the world can't copy. So let me give you one more fact just to really hammer this home. In 2025, the Filipino diaspora sent home over $39 billion, 0 cents in remittances, a record-breaking high that helped stabilize not just our economy, but kept entire regions from collapsing. That's the power of one nation's love stretched across the globe. Now you tell me, if we can hold the world together while scattered across it, imagine what we could do if we actually united at home. Because here's what the world doesn't get. Filipinos don't break records for glory. We break them because we have no choice. Because life never gave us a soft landing, so we learned to fly on broken wings. And we made it look graceful. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm tired of hearing Filipinos are underrated. No, we're not underrated, we're under-recognized. We're overperforming in a world that still underpays us. So to everyone watching, type prod Pinoy in the comments if you've ever been told you're too kind, you're too patient, or you're too good for this. Because that's not weakness, that's world class. We just beat another record, but in reality, we've been doing that since the beginning of time. The only difference now, the world finally noticed. But stay tuned, because in the next segment, I'll tell you the part no one wants to admit, how other nations are secretly profiting off our success, and what happens when we finally decide to stop carrying their weight. All right, let's drop the nice tone for a minute, because it's time we call this what it is. Every time Filipinos break another record, the world claps, but behind those claps, they're counting the profits. You think all that praise comes free? No, it's an investment in their survival, not ours. Here's the raw truth. The reason the world is panicking every time a Filipino wins is because our success exposes their weakness. When we break a record, they realize they've built their systems on our backs. Hospitals, hotels, cargo ships, cruise lines, you name it. Take away the Filipino, and those shiny towers of developed nations start looking like Jenga blocks about to fall. Look at Japan, for example. You know how they just awarded the Outstanding Caregiver of Asia honor to a Filipino nurse last month? Touching, right? Except they didn't do it out of pure gratitude. They did it because Japan's population is collapsing and they know who's going to keep their country alive. The Japanese government literally admitted that by 2035, 1 out of every 5 healthcare workers will need to be Filipino, 1 out of 5. So when they say arigato, trust me, it's panic disguised as politeness. And let's not pretend America's any different. They love our nurses, our soldiers, our tech professionals, but the moment we start demanding equal pay or better visa treatment, suddenly it's complicated. Filipinos have one of the highest employment satisfaction ratings in the US, but one of the lowest pay growth rates. How does that make sense? Oh, right, because they want our work ethic, not our ambition. And here's what makes me angry. They keep calling us the backbone of their industries, but they forget what happens when a backbone breaks. The whole body collapses. These countries are terrified that Filipinos are finally realizing their worth. That's why they're rolling out special work visas, citizenship fast tracks, and cultural appreciation programs. It's not kindness, it's containment. They're afraid we'll stop giving, stop helping, stop carrying them. And while they're trying to lock us in with contracts, our own country is sitting quietly like it's proud of the remittance figures. $39 billion, 0 cents this year, a record-breaking achievement. But hold on, how is it a win if our heroes have to leave home to make it happen? That's like bragging your house is stable while your roof is missing. The truth hurts. Filipinos are breaking world records abroad because they're being pushed to do it. You think anyone chooses to leave their kids behind just for fun? You think working double shifts in freezing weather thousands of miles from home is anyone's dream? No, it's survival dressed as opportunity. And let me hit you with another one. Filipino seafarers now make up 25% of the global maritime workforce. That's a record. You know what else that means? If every Filipino sailor stopped working today, 1 in 4 ships on Earth would be stranded. That's how dependent the world has become. But instead of investing in us, they exploit it. They say Filipinos are loyal, and yeah, we are. But loyalty doesn't mean blind servitude. Do you ever notice that when Filipinos achieve something big, like winning international contests, topping global rankings, or inventing new tech, the global media writes it like a surprise twist? Filipino engineer wins Global Robotics Award, or Filipino scientist leads NASA breakthrough, and you just want to scream, of course we did. We've been doing that for decades. But the world's so used to underestimating us that our normal looks like their miracle. That's what makes me furious. We don't need validation anymore. We need valuation, respect with numbers, not just headlines. Because let's face it, the only time some countries remember how valuable Filipinos are is when their systems start breaking. And let's not sugarcoat this. The world doesn't want to empower Filipinos. They want to employ them. There's a big difference. Because the moment Filipinos start running companies instead of staffing them, or owning ships instead of sailing them, or leading hospitals instead of working night shifts, the global order flips. And that terrifies them. Now here's a little humor because the truth's getting heavy. If hard work were an Olympic sport, the Philippines would have been a superpower centuries ago. We'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, your gold medal for cleaning, coding, caregiving, cooking, and still finding time to laugh at life goes to the Filipino. The crowd goes wild, but then they'd probably still underpay us for it. So the next time you hear that the world is impressed by another Filipino record, remember, it's not admiration, it's self-preservation. They know that if we ever stop working, stop smiling, stop showing up, their system crashes faster than their economy in a pandemic. And yet, despite all that, we keep breaking records. Not for them, but for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, that's the real Filipino spirit. We don't wait for applause. We don't ask for permission. We just win. Quietly, consistently, and with a smile that says, you'll need me again tomorrow. If you've ever felt that pride, the kind that makes you laugh and tear up at the same time, type respect in the comments, because respect is the least the world owes us. And in the next segment, we're going to talk about the bigger truth why every Filipino victory abroad is a wake-up call for the Philippines itself, and how the next world record we need to break shouldn't be about leaving, but coming home. Let's stop pretending. Every time a Filipino breaks a record abroad, it's a celebration for the world, but a warning for the Philippines. Because here's the ugly truth nobody wants to say out loud. We're exporting brilliance because our own system doesn't know what to do with it. It's crazy other countries build statues for the kind of workers we call ordinary. The world treats our nurses like national treasures, our teachers like saviors, our seafarers like indispensable heroes. But back home, some of those same people get home and line up for jobs that pay less than their kids' tuition. That's not just unfair, that's a national tragedy hiding behind our pride. And don't get me wrong, pride is good. Pride gives us strength. But pride without progress? That's pain wearing lipstick. We brag about the billions in remittances every year, nearly $40 billion, 0 cents in 2025, another record, while forgetting that those billions come from broken families, from parents who missed birthdays, from children who learned to hug screens instead of arms. That's what our records are built on, sacrifice. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it. The world loves our output, but they never feel the cost. They see the remittances, the awards, the medals. What they don't see is the tear-streaked face of a mother leaving for Dubai, whispering "Anak ma'al kang mabuti," while her heart stays behind at the airport. Do you know what gets me? We've become the lifeline of the world, but we're still gasping for air at home. Every Filipino breaking records abroad is a symptom of something deeper, a system back home that refuses to match their potential. We keep producing excellence, but we don't retain it. We train world-class talent only to watch them fly away. And when I say that, I'm not blaming the OFWs, I'm blaming the blindness. The same blindness that celebrates record-breaking remittances but ignores why people had to leave in the first place. It's not ambition, it's desperation disguised as opportunity. But let's flip the narrative. Imagine if those same record-breaking Filipinos, the nurses, engineers, scientists, caregivers, tech experts, came back home and used their skills to rebuild the Philippines. Imagine if the government invested in them the way other nations do. We wouldn't just be breaking records abroad, we'd be rewriting history here. Because here's what the world doesn't get. The Filipino doesn't break records for fame, we do it for family. Every late night shift, every double job, every dollar sent home, that's not just labor, that's love. It's faith turned into motion. It's resilience with receipt. And I'll say it plainly, the day we stop calling our best people heroes for leaving and start calling them builders for returning, that's the day the world stops pitying us and starts fearing our potential. You want to know why the world claps when we win? Because deep down, they know if the Philippines ever truly unites its people, if we ever decide to stay, to invest, to build here, the world's labor economy collapses overnight. That's not ego, that's arithmetic. The Philippines is already the engine that keeps global industries moving. The only thing missing is realizing that we could be driving our own machine. And look, I'm angry, yeah, but I'm hopeful too, because this generation, they're different. They're not just proud to be Filipino, they're tired of seeing talent wasted. They're learning that respect abroad means nothing if it doesn't echo at home. So maybe, just maybe, the next world record we break won't be another medal or remittance milestone or overseas achievement. Maybe it'll be this: the first time in history, Filipinos stop being the world's workers and start being the world's standard. If you're watching this and you feel that spark, that burning mix of anger and pride, type vision in the comments. Because that's what we need now. A vision for a Philippines that doesn't just produce greatness, but protects it. Because the truth is, we've already proven we can beat the world. Now it's time to prove we can build one of our own. And when that happens, when every Filipino record broken abroad becomes a blueprint rebuilt at home, the world won't just clap, it'll bow.